Hello everybody. Today we are looking at a Cobra 2000 GTL. It's a Taiwan model that had the MB8734 chip into it, and it now holds the MB8719. First of all, let me tell you that this radio has been modded for extra channels. The clarifier and the frequency counter, of course, I should say the clarifier has been unlocked, so the frequency counter chases it. There are some issues with the radio, and as far as I'm considered, well, this is the first Cobra 2000 I've ever actually owned, and there's some issues with it that I've never witnessed in any other radio before. I have more AM power than I do sideband. There is a Roger beat kit put into it. Before I forget that, I wanted to tell you that. The driver is a 2166, and the final is a 2312, which I believe is normal, but I thought it would have been the 1969. I want to tell you right off the bat, another issue, if it is an issue. I hooked up a set of earbuds into the external of the radio, just to listen, because AM is wanky, kind of distorted, and low, not as high as it should be. When I did plug the earbud in, of course only one bud worked because it's mono, and I put that bud in my ear, and not soon afterwards on receive it started to get warm. So I put it in my hand and felt it, and I realized, yeah, there's a lot of heat being generated there. So I unplugged it. I didn't want to destroy my earbuds, so that's another issue. I'm going to run this through the paces on AM and sideband, and I'm going to show you the wattage, exactly what's going on with wattage there as best I can. There seems to be forward swing sometimes, I think, on AM, and backward swing on modulation on sideband. But anyway, without going into too much confusing detail, I'll run it through its paces now. We are on channel 20 and we are on AM. I have the volume turned down. The clarifier right now, the course lock is fully to the left, to the right, sorry, clockwise, and the fine is on just about 12 o'clock, and that gives you pretty well what we're seeing here for channel 20, 27.2050. I'm not going to do a key up and make some comment on this as to what I see and what you may be seeing. Both meters are running fully up. I know you can't see my meter right now, my power meter, but it's registering almost 3 watts. And when I modulate heavy, there's a downswing. So on AM there's a downswing on channel 20, and of course on channel 1 it seems like a bit more wattage. On channel 40 the wattage is down somewhat. We're going to check that out now. We'll go to 40, and I know you can't see the meter. Now this gentleman here that's coming in is only doing 3 pounds. If I was listening to him on the Washington or the Cherokee, he'd probably be doing 5 to 7 pounds maybe. Channel 40 on AM, key up. We have 1 watt and a downward swing on modulation of about a half a watt. The other thing I want you to notice, and I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but the lights are actually brightening on AM. At least that's what it looks like when I modulate. Ever so slightly. We'll go to sideband, lower sideband now. Key up. I'm hitting 1 watt right now with a full whistle of modulation. Lights are dimming. Upper sideband. Same issue, light dimming, and 1 watt. Just want to check something here now. Okay. We are running on power supply power. Sorry about that. I thought I was running on AC. We'll do a recheck on everything on power supply and see if there's any difference. So we go back to AM, and we'll switch over now to AC. Turn off the power supply. There's 2 switches on this, by the way, for extra channels, and 1 switch for Roger beep. Okay, we'll repower. Channel 20 AM on internal AC power. See what happens. Channel 20 AM. Lights are dim. They brighten on AM. Almost 2 watts of modulation. Of watts, I should say. Almost 2 watts there. Slight forward swing now on AC. Let's try sideband, lower sideband. Lights dim on sideband. 2 watts, almost 2 watts of power being produced. Obviously a lot lower than what it should be. Upper sideband, the same issue. So whatever it is on lower sideband is with upper sideband. There's no negotiating that at all. Now what I'm going to do is let you look at the watt meter as I perform these different things. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me turn off the camera and get back to you. Okay, we're on AC power again. We're not running off the power supply. And we'll run through the same pace again. Channel 20 AM. We're looking at about almost 2 watts of power, and you'll see the reflection backward on modulation. Actually, sorry. Slight forward swing. Sideband, lower sideband, same thing. Let's try. Almost 2 watts of power. And we won't go to upper sideband because it's the same issue. We'll go to 40 on AM. Almost 1 watt. Backward swing. Channel 1 on AM. Forward swing. Okay. I'm going to power this down. We're going to switch over to DC power again. And perform the same duty. Run or through our paces. Obviously, the DC switch, if I turn on the power supply, it may work. Power down the radio. Power up the radio. Wonderful. Forgot the power supply, sorry about that. Channel 20. AM. Let's see what happens on DC power supply. External. Nearly 3 watts here on channel 20. And backward swing. Another thing you may notice is not a lot of modulation. Lower sideband. 3 watts. Let's go to channel 40, AM. Backward swing, 1 watt. And channel 1. Three watts and backward swing. So there you have it. It's a very interesting situation. Now another thing I want to mention is the squelch button. The dynamic seems to be working. It's either off and it turns up the modulation of the mic according as it should. The volume button is working fine. But if you notice the squelch button, it seems like if you touch it, it seems like it fades out for a bit and then drops back in. This issue there, you'll notice that have the center button moved over here for clarification purposes. RF gain is fully up. That's the top shaft here, and the bottom shaft is your SWR in calibration. Got the tone turned up. The tone is working fine. The clarifier seems to be working as normal. I don't know if it's normal to have the coarse down here and the fine at 12. I'm not exactly sure about that. And this switch works fine, of course. Lower sideband of that. The speaker switch is working fine. The PA is transmitting fine. Analog switch is working as normal. Noise blanker. Slight difference, but it is working, so we know that. And as I mentioned, the CBE PA switch is working. That's working fine. And got it down on modulation. Let's see what the modulation lights tells us. Not as good as what it should be, I guess. We can calibrate the SWR now. Key up, and we will calibrate. And looks like 1.1, 1.2. No, probably even just 1.1 actually. So there you have it. Cobra GTL, the 2000. One thing I'm very impressed with is it seems like the frequency counter is right on the money. And of course the clock needs to be set. Question I have for somebody, I suppose I could look this up, but if I unplug the radio for much more than 5 seconds, the clock resets to 12 o'clock and it doesn't budge. But when I set the clock, it's fine. It functions properly. I thought there may have been some sort of memory in the radio, so if you unplugged it for maybe like 10-15 minutes, the clock would have kept this memory. And so if anybody got any comments on that, you can. And actually, if you could comment on anything else that you may have noticed through the jigs and the reels today. This issue is certainly well beyond my capability of repairing. I can remove parts and put in parts pretty well, depending on what it is. My troubleshooting skills are terrible. I can assemble and disassemble pretty good. But so it's this is going to be a piece of work. And I appreciate any information that you could share. As I mentioned previously, I do have the schematics for this radio. Actually looks like store-bought or professionally printed schematics, and so that is a plus. The radio overall condition, as I mentioned before, is in good condition. Everything seems to be, well, there's no damage, broken, beaten up or anything. The modification wiring is it's not 100%. It could have been done a bit tidier. I did tidy up a few wires. What happened is they peeled back too much of the coating, and a lot of the wire was exposed beyond the soldering, so I tidied up a bit of that. I did notice that the 2166, one of the legs, was not making good contact, and I soldered that, but it still never made no. There was an outside leg. Upside down it was to the left, so it would have been the right leg as you see it sitting in the radio, I guess. That wasn't making contact, it wasn't soldered, the leg was actually loose. Little things like that I can do, but this is probably well beyond my capability. Well, not probably, it is. Going to keep picking at it bit by bit and try to figure out how to do some tests and stuff like that and figure out exactly what's going on. And as I said again, I'll say it one more time, if you have any any comments, certainly feel free to post them on my YouTube. Any information you can divulge, certainly appreciate it. I've got some friends in Radio Nut 53 that are quite capable of troubleshooting and repairing radios. Radio Nut and a gentleman called Den and TechQuest, and there's a few others that visit the chat line in Radio Nut 63 or 53. And so they've been giving me some help, and but a lot of what they're explaining to me is beyond my understanding. So anyway, I'm going to finish up the video now and get this uploaded for you so you can watch it and start commenting. Thank you for your time. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe. and have a great evening.